Welcome, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Wantrepreneur Wednesday. So for those of you I don't know, my name is Patricia Cimino, and I am an empowerment coach that helps entrepreneurial women with their self-belief so they can do what they're passionate about with clarity and confidence and a giant dose of optimism. And today I have the opportunity to share with you a really good friend of mine who I met a number of years ago. Her name is Gail Bradshaw, and she is a dance movement therapist. Now, when I first heard dance movement therapist, I really didn't know what that was, and I'm going to let her share with you what that is. But I want you to hear how she took all of her years of experience, almost 20 years of dance movement therapy, along with her other modalities of healing, and has combined them all to create an amazing business. So welcome to the broadcast, Gail.
Thank you very much, Patty. Thank you. I'm honored to be here. Thank you so much.
Oh, so happy to have you. So can you just share with the audience who you are and what your business is and who it is that you serve within your business?
Yes, I can. So again, I am a board certified dance movement therapist. And I'm also a Christ-centered Reiki master. And dance movement therapy is a form of psychotherapy and counseling where you use movement and the body to explore the self. And dance movement therapists work in a variety of different settings and with a variety of different populations. And so in my 20 years of being a dance movement therapist, I've worked in a variety of different communities and facilities, worked in mental health and cancer and bereavement and church and wellness communities. And I still work with older adults right now on a dementia unit and with the well elderly. But I'm now, as you said, combining all my skills and the different trainings that I've had that are body-centered trainings and developing BODYful connections. And my website is hot off the press. I just finished it this week. And BODYful Connections is, yay, BODYful Connections offers body-centered practices that do two things, that cultivate well-being and also nurture spiritual growth. And it does it through, I kind of created 6 different practices that help accomplish these 2 goals. And with each practice, we're really working on integrating the body, mind, and spirit, as well as deepening the relationship with God, your true self, which I think is found in present moment awareness, and also deepening your relationships with others. So some of the practices are more expressive and others are more contemplative. But they all involve these goals. And they really work on integrating, again, all the different modalities that I have learned through my years as a dance movement therapist. So it has elements of dance movement therapy, has elements of neurodevelopmental movement and art expression and aromatherapy, and also Reiki healing touch. So I combine all these, also mindfulness, into this beautiful package of these practices that, again, help nurture spiritual growth and cultivate well-being.
So, okay, so explain this a little. I mean, I know your history because we were working together in coaching. You're one of my clients and helping you get, expose your business out there. But explain to people, like, who would be an ideal person that would come to you for your services? Like, what would they be looking for? What would be missing from their life or wanting to heal that you would help them with?
Well, I think really people who, I'm thinking young adults and adults. And again, you're always telling me I need to narrow my focus. I know that. And I'm working on that with my business since I'm so new at starting it. But I think young adults and adults who really want to work on cultivating well-being and, again, nurturing their spiritual growth in a creative way through the arts, through mindfulness, and very creative ways. I think it's one thing to learn about doing that cognitively, and it's one thing about experiencing it. So one thing I think is the gift of BODYful Connections is that I offer experiences to really explore well-being and to deepen spiritual growth. And very much spiritual growth in my realm. I happen to be Christian, so a lot of my spiritual practices are very much Christian spirituality. And not often do I think in my Christian world do we offer these experiential, creative experiences to deepen our presence of God. And I'm really passionate about that because it has transformed my own life and my own journey of becoming BODYful. So yeah. Does that answer that question a little bit?
So tell us a little bit, tell the audience a little bit about how did you get to this place? Like, why did you even decide dance movement therapy? Why did you decide to add in Reiki? Why did you decide in some of these? Right. How did your journey get started and bring you to where you are today?
I've been thinking about that a lot. And so I think there's been little touch points in my life, but I really think I've been brought to this place of creating BODYful connections way back to my childhood. Thinking about this, there's been certain passions in my life that have brought me well-being and really flowed me into well-being throughout my whole life. And one was the arts, always. I've danced since I was a little kid. And besides being in a dance class, I would dance in my basement on my bare feet when I was happy or sad. I always felt the healing power of movement. And also art. I loved to create art as a kid, as well as I was in band. I was in marching band. I played the clarinet. So the arts have been a big part of my life, as well as my faith. So I grew up in this Catholic family, and I had this wonderful close-knit family. I'm so blessed. And I also had this wonderful church family. I grew up in Catholics are very good, your parish community. And so I grew up in the southwest side of Chicago in this wonderful parish, and I felt cared about. It was a sense of community. It was just a beautiful way to experience God through this community. And so I've always had these areas of my life, my arts area, my faith area, and I've always loved science. I've always loved how the body works, and it's always been very curious to me. And I knew throughout my whole life I wanted to be in the helping fields. And I thought a nurse. I'm going to be a nurse. And so I went to St. Mary's of Notre Dame and entered nursing school there, and things were going well. And I love the work very much, but my own struggle with some learning disabilities came up for me, especially with math and figuring dosages. I was struggling. And so I had to come to a crossroads. Do I continue in nursing and stay an extra year to work on this area, or am I being led in a different area? And I remember a really low point being in my dorm room at 20 on my bunk bed having a panic attack, like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I'm going to be a nurse. I thought I was. So I ended up graduating from St. Mary's with a major in psychology and a minor in biology. And little did I know that it was right what was supposed to happen. And my mom had seen an article about dance movement therapy in the Chicago Tribune. And right away, I just knew that this is what I was being groomed for. It allowed me to be in the helping fields. It allowed me to use my love for the arts, my love for science, all in this beautiful package. And so I went to graduate school at Columbia College, and I became a board certified dance movement therapist, and then became a licensed clinical professional counselor. And I did that throughout, and I worked in a variety of different settings. And then I became a mom, and that was another touch point. I became a mom. And so my clinical work stopped a little bit more at that point, and I immersed myself in my mothering. And through mothering challenges, I really delved into the body now even more on a personal level. And so it's amazing how we're brought these challenges and what gifts they really become. So I began to really discover energy medicine. I began to discover neurodevelopmental movement more at a body level, and began to heal my own self, my own struggles with learning through these forms of healing. Been really love learning about mindfulness and the neuroplasticity of the brain. So I really trained myself in all these other forms of treatment. And these two worlds began to merge. So I had my science world, my creative arts therapy world, and now my faith world. When I was very fragile and difficult, just struggles as a mother and parenting children, I really relied on my faith a lot. And now these worlds were merging. I began to see how beautifully integrating the arts, science, and my faith flowed me into a sense of well-being that I had never felt before. And I began to feel BODYful. And for me, BODYful, it means awakening, really opening the gift of the body to awaken the, I want to say that in the correct way. I'm looking at my cheat sheet here. BODYful Connections is about opening the gift of the body and awakening to just the beauty and the fullness of life flowing through you and around you. And that's what happened for me. As I integrated all this together, I discovered a whole different sense of wellness and wholeness. Again, integrating faith, science, and just the creative arts therapies all together.
Wow. So, okay. So you have these modalities. You had been working for like at the Birches, and you've been working in different facilities and facilitating these things. What made you decide to wrap it all up and create a business? What made you decide to go over to that side? Why not just doing what you were doing?
Because I love working with my older adults, and I want to continue that work. I can't give that up yet. But it was the changes that I experienced felt too profound to just do on my own. I felt God was really asking me to share this work, and I feel really passionate about how we need to open the gift of our body to experience the fullness of life. Life flows through us, and we have a choice to stop that or really allow the flow. And I feel God strongly asking me to really cultivate these practices and to start this business to allow people to flow and to experience the fullness of life.
Wow. Okay. So tell me, you're now in the entrepreneurial world. What are some of your challenges that you've faced becoming an entrepreneur?
I think my biggest challenge is me. I think getting myself out of the way. And so our coaching has been so wonderful to help me look at my mindset and to look at what stops me from me sharing this bountifulness with others. And so I know my perfectionism comes up, and maybe self-doubt, not maybe, yes, self-doubt creeps in, and kind of wondering what other people will think is the way I've creatively interwoven all these modalities together. Some people might really resonate with them, other people might not. And so I need to be okay with that. I need to be able to share my truth and what has been so meaningful to me, and not worry about what other people think. And so that's a big deal for me as I start this business.
For a lot of entrepreneurs, big deal.
Yes. Yes.
So tell me, you've got this. You're a wife, you've got 2 kids, you're pretty busy. When your life gets really hectic, how do you, what is it that you think and believe that gets you through the most difficult moments of your day?
It simply is, there's a we inside of me. And I really talk about this a lot on my website when I talk about what it means to be BODYful and my own BODYful journey, that I do nothing alone, that I have God is not outside. He walks with me, but lives within me, and I do nothing alone. So there's a we inside of me that is with me always, and that I can do all things. For me, I experience God through Christ. And so for me, it's I can do all things through Christ who give me strength. And so I've learned through these practices and combining everything to sense the presence of God, to sense the presence of Christ within me through my thoughts and my body. And it's the sensing of God that has been so transformative in my own life.
Interesting. Wow. Okay. So now what advice would you give to another woman who, is thinking about becoming an entrepreneur? What would you say to her?
Oh, I would say, listen, pay attention to what brings you passion. We have one life to live, and that what brings you passion, pay attention to that. Notice, like I shared, I noticed how I've been really being led to developing this business, I think, since I was in grade school. I have been led. I've been having little signposts along the way, and now I'm taking the risk to share it, to pay attention to what are the signposts in your life, where has God been leading you, and to pay attention and to just share it. But it's about paying attention and listening to where are the signposts and what really brings you joy, because people are going to feel that joy. You often tell me that, and I hear you speak about that, and I totally believe it. It's because when we walk the walk and talk the talk, people will feel that, as well as we're sharing we're called to savor and serve in this world, and we're called to serve, to share our gifts and not hide them. Just like I feel like we're called to open the gifts of the gift of our body and to know how it works. And not, if we receive a present, we're not going to leave it underneath the Christmas tree all year. We're going to open it. Our bodies are a gift. We need to open them.
Oh gosh, that's awesome. I love that. I love that analogy that you just made. Okay, so what, Gail Ann, has been, this is the question I ask every entrepreneur that's on, what has been your best mistake you've ever made?
Not making it into nursing school. I mean,
yes.
It was just, I had a panic attack. I thought my life was coming to an end. I can visualize myself on my top bunk crying, having a panic attack. And oh my gosh, thank goodness I'm not a nurse. I love what I do. I am meant to do this. I feel it's a calling. I mean, I love it. I'm so happy. Being a dance movement therapist has allowed me to deepen every aspect of my life. And I just feel blessed. So it's how interesting. Such a trauma at 20 years old blew my world. What do you mean I'm not going to be a nurse was the biggest gift in the whole wide world.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. So where can people find out more about you, where you're going to, if you've got events coming up, or where they can find you online, offline, all of that good stuff?
Okay, well, I'm developing all this now, but since my website is done, please check it out. So it's BODYfulConnections.com. So it's BODYful connections.com. And please, so I haven't started any of the practices formally yet. So that is my goal now, and hopefully this month and next month to start up. But if you're a viewer watching this, please go on, look at the practices. And if you can tell me, shoot me an email of any of them that really excite you or you would like to attend. It would be really helpful to me just to get your feedback on the site. I really, I feel like my site is about sharing my truth, and I shared a lot of my own artwork and really shared my own journey to invite you on your journey. So I was very transparent and very vulnerable on the site. And so I welcome your feedback, and I just invite you to see if you'd be interested in any of those practices.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Well, Gail Ann, thank you so much for being on my Wantrepreneur Wednesday this week. I'm really grateful that you took the time out of your busy day. I know you've got a lot going on. So thank you. And thank you, everyone who's joining in, jumping on, or if you're viewing this in replay, feel free to just hit replay and drop a comment, throw some hearts, whatever it is that you'd like to do to support this page. Thank you so much, and I will see you again next week.
Thank you so much. All right. Bye.